Okay.
Can't do it anymore. So you know the drill with ayahuasca. I've been recommended to bring 3 toilet papers, just in case I shit myself, literally. So today has been a very good day. I look very tired. I am very tired. I flew in. I was meant to meet them at 10 AM. I got here at 10 AM to the airport. I landed at 10. Drove to here, the hotel I'm staying at for the first night. Then went to the water place to go and purge out, cleanse my body, which was an experience in itself. So what it is, I had to drink 6 cups of what basically tasted like salty water. And all it does, it clears out your insides. So all the stuff, the horrible stuff that's all built up inside you, just clears out. Just clears out. Even through your mouth or through your ass. So what is ayahuasca? Ayahuasca is traditionally from the Amazon rainforest. It's a mix of DMT leaves and the ayahuasca vine. It's been used for over 5,000 years to expand people's consciousness, to heal people from traumas. DMT is a neurotransmitter produced naturally in our brain from the pineal gland, which is responsible for our dreams in REM rest, so rapid eye movement. When you're sleeping and your eyes start to move rapidly, this is what produces your dreams, and DMT is released into your brain to produce your visions and your dreams. The ayahuasca, it places the brain in an expanded state of vibration, working optimally, therefore the person reaches a higher state of consciousness. Ayahuasca is not a drug and is not addictive, therefore there is no loss of consciousness. About 20 minutes after drinking ayahuasca, consciousness starts to shift. There is normally a change in senses that will increase hearing sensitivity, smell, touch and vision. In Peru and other retreat centres across the world, mainly in South America, it is used to help drug addicts, to help people stop feeling depressed and literally get rid of all the bad and the evil inside their body from their past, from their traumas, healing their traumas. So it may sound all fun and games, but when you hit the dark side, you will do your research first. And I mean, you need to do your research, because this isn't just a walk in the park. It's an experience, and you may be traumatized from some of the stuff that you see, but it will heal you in the long run. So someone asked me, where can I get some? So this is not recreational hallucinogenic. It's a plant that deserves a lot of respect. I may have read this in the wrong way, but the best way for you to do ayahuasca is under experienced control, so under someone who is a shaman, who knows what they're doing, who can handle the stuff that you're going to go through, because you will go through stuff. You may even see what I see, which was very traumatic. So another question was, how did I feel during the ceremony? I answer this later on in the documentary. I go through my whole process. So the health benefits of ayahuasca. Ayahuasca can heal your physical, mental and emotional disturbances, but you do need to meet mental health specific, so you can't take part if you have schizophrenia, some bipolar disorders, as it's not very safe and you could really harm yourself in the long run. So trauma is a most commonly known healing. For example, people with PTSD, people who have gone under trauma from maybe abused, sexually abused, really horrible things. This can come up and heal you and make you come to terms with horrible things that have happened in your past. It can help with chronic fatigue, general weakness, stomach aches, head migraines, and it's also been known to cure incurable diseases like cancer. This doesn't mean this will cure your cancer. It means that it can. It has done in the past, but it also hasn't done in the past for some people. So it really is about how you react to the ayahuasca. So I'm not saying this is going to cure you from everything. It can do, it might not. It can help reset neurochemicals in the brain, especially serotonin, which is basically the happy hormone. It also appears to target dopamine. This is our primary reward hormone, to be pleased and satisfied. It can also help with addictions from drugs, sex, obsessive compulsive disorders, and everything like that. So So another question, when do we know we're ready for ayahuasca? You have to have a call into it. You have to feel like it's popping up in your face. People are talking to you about it. When I first heard about it, I didn't see anything for about a year after that. Wanted to go and do it, knew I was going to do it. Didn't see anything. And then when I went into Bali, I saw so many people, I was speaking to people, speaking about it and saying how interesting it was. I was so interested in what people went through. I kept asking questions, kept watching documentaries. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go try it. I'm going to do it. I've got a calling for it. It wants me to go and do it. So I went to go and do it. So the diet running up to ayahuasca, the best way to do it is completely vegan. I mean, they don't mind if you eat chicken, fish, but as long as you're eating healthy. But the best way to do it, like I say, is going vegan. Cutting out chocolate, you've got to cut out sex, you've got to cut out coffee. Mainly a few days, best to do it a week before. But best to do it a month before, but the longer you leave yourself, the better you will connect with ayahuasca. It's also best to cut out dairy as well. 75% of people can't digest dairy. So this is one leading cause of depression. So if you are feeling depressed, try cutting out dairy first. So this is the first hotel I'm staying at. Let's go in to the room. Just let the camera adjust. Oh, so it's just a nice little, I say little, it can literally fit easily 5 people on it. If you can see the size of the bed, it's a big old bed. It's not a big room, but got loads of stuff, got all I need. Only for one night in this place. This is the bathroom. Whoa. Nice little bathroom, toilet, shower. As you can see, I'm very tired. I'm not allowed to drink. No, I'm not allowed to eat. I can drink whatever, water. I can just stick to drinking water because I've got my first ayahuasca ceremony tomorrow. So, living one night in luxury for the next 2 after that. Potentially shitting myself or throwing up. It's gonna be either one. I guess it's ayahuasca's choice, I suppose. But this is just the start. So it's the morning of the first ceremony. Don't know what's gonna happen. I'm excited, I'm nervous. I can't wait to do it, but yeah, I haven't eaten, so I'm quite hungry, but I've just water fasting, doesn't matter. So, first ceremony, wish me luck. I've got to walk to the place, I've just got to check out my hotel, check out this beautiful room. And then, off to Etnika's place for the trip. 3 days, 2 ceremonies, 1 max. Just leaving the hotel, off to Etnika's to go to the retreat. I'm excited, I'm nervous. Who knows what's gonna happen? It's quite nice weather though. Better than England, better than the freezing weather. But let's go to Etnika's. I just gotta get some water and I'm sorted. I woke up a little bit too early, left, and then carried this heavy ass case up so many hills and so many stairs. And they don't open till 9 and it's 8:30. So I just got to stand on this thin of a road. So I had to lug my case down it. Yeah, I've got to wait here until, hold on, until 9:30. No, 9 o'clock. It could be raining though, it could be worse, eh? Oh, I'm out of breath. I'm glad I bought some water on the way because otherwise I would be dying. Because I haven't eaten anything either, so I haven't got any energy. And it weighs a lot, this case, especially up a hill. Oh. So this is my ayahuasca experience. I'm gonna read it from here, so bear with me. So day 1, I had to go to the water place to take this volcanic water. So it basically just tasted of salt water. It was basically like salt water. I had to drink 6 cups, about that big, full of it, to basically purge, to throw up, or go to the toilet. I threw up quite a lot and went to the toilet. Then went to go and get some vegan food, which was very good. Went with 2 other people that I just met. Had a good chat and found out that we were all there for similar reasons. Wanted to find out what our life purpose was. We've had a few problems the last couple of years, so it was quite weird to think that we were all there for the same reason, if you see what I mean. The next day I got up at 3:06, then I woke up at 4:55, because I went to bed quite early. I went to bed at about 9, so I woke up and I just thought, right, I'll get up now, right, I'll meditate, do a bit of yoga, sort myself out, do a morning routine, watch some videos, watch some more about ayahuasca. I was quite interested, quite intrigued. So when we got to the water place, I had some really in-depth conversations with some of the people. Gabriel, Hemma, Reena, Simon. We were all having some good conversations about why we're here, what we think, what we're in for, what we think is going to happen, all that type of stuff. So we're all quite excited, getting all excited, sharing stories, sharing what we know, everything like that. It was quite interesting to learn stuff from all these different people. So then we set off to the retreat, and we stopped on the way. I got a few videos, I got a picture from my Instagram in front of the mountains, which was such a great picture. Came out really nice. Got the smile in it and everything. So then when we got to the retreat, we got shown to our rooms, very basic. I mean, there was no heating at all. The showers were very, just basic. The whole thing was very basic, to be honest. I mean, the curtains were white so that the sun would come in the morning, so you wake up with the sun. There was three of us in the room, me, Simon and Gabriel. So then we had a chat with the shaman, both the shamans, Jimmy, the coordinator, psychologist and the doctor. We were just having a little chat with all of them, and they were saying that what the shaman said to us, this should help us find our life purpose and should heal us from any past traumas, everything we've been in the past. It should just heal us. So then he gave us these cocoa leaves and 3 leaves, and he said to eat them, so started chewing on them. I ripped it into 3, started eating it, swallowed it, and then as soon as I swallowed it, he said, right, so don't swallow it, and I was like, right, okay, brilliant. I just don't listen very well sometimes, but what are you gonna do? I swallowed it, nothing happened. So then we had our one-to-ones with the psychologist, and we were just explaining how we were, I explained how I was, quite happy, quite content with what I do. I'm happy with where I am, I'm happy what I'm doing, I love what I'm doing at the minute, helping people online, and then what my goals are for the future. And it was quite nice for someone like himself to say how, in his sense, proud. He doesn't know me, but proud as in like, good on you, you're doing well for yourself, I like what you're doing, keep it up, and that type of stuff. So I was quite happy and quite proud of myself for someone to say that to me. Then we had our one-to-one with the doctor, and I was in fine, perfect health, blood pressure perfect, nothing wrong with me. They just asked me a bit about myself, a bit about my family, any history with disease, anything like that. No, everything was perfectly fine. So then we went to bed again. We were just on water, so I'd been fasting for 2 days. So this was my 2nd day fasting at this point, so just water. So then that evening we had our first ceremony. Obviously I was quite excited, looking forward to it, wondering what I was going to see. And yeah, this is where it starts to get a bit crazy for me, to be honest with you. At the start, all I can really remember is, we sat in the hut, got our ayahuasca, got it in a cup. We've done all the healing things, so you put this stuff in your hands, rub it across your body to protect yourself from everything, all bad spirits, which didn't seem to work for me for the first one. So what I did was sat down, took my ayahuasca, started to meditate. Couldn't really meditate, I was just getting all agitated, so I'm just sitting there, just looking around, trying to keep still. Then I just sat down, just sat straight down, lied back, and after about 25 to 30 minutes I started to see these shapes. It was lines, all multicoloured lines everywhere, and then everything, absolutely everything that I could see. So there was a pillar down the middle of the hut. All the way up the pillar, I could see numbers all down the side of it. My vision, if I'd look at something, I could see the dimensions of everything. So I was quite confused, and I was like, oh, this is quite cool. So I started to see stuff like that, and I was like, I'm starting to like this, starting to get into it. And then I started to feel this really bad energy, and I was like, I've been told in the past and by everyone else, if you feel a bad energy, let it come. Just go with it. Don't resist it. Let it go. Let it go through you. Let it do what it needs to do. So I sat there, and at the corner of my eye, I could see my jacket, and I thought it was going to get me. I was quite agitated, and anything I could see out the corner of my eye, I thought was going to get me. So I was quite agitated from that, and I was a bit on nerves, just not really there. Then I just started to lose my mind, completely lose my mind. And I was like, this was my worst fear. I had no control over my body. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't think what I was thinking of. And I started to go a bit crazy, to be honest with you. So I didn't know who I was. Everything confused me, absolutely everything. So very quickly I started to deteriorate. I couldn't really see much by this point. My eyes just went completely blank. I couldn't see a thing. It was dark in the room anyway, but I just couldn't see a thing. Then I started to look forward, and the shaman was sitting there singing, I believe it's called the Icaros. And I was staring at him, and I was, who are you? Who are you? I was so confused. And the next day I had to explain to people, was he actually sitting there or did I see him? He was actually sitting there, it's fine. After my mind went completely blank, I laid down, and like I said, I couldn't see anything. So I started shouting, and things that I was saying was, I've got 5 questions to ask. My first question is, I've got 5 questions to ask. I don't remember saying any of this. I felt these feelings in my body. It felt like my whole body was coming out of my mouth. I was turning inside out. And that's when I started to feel the need to purge. So my body was turned inside out. I felt these vines and roots going through my body, and I'm laying there like, oh, it was such a weird sensation. And then I don't remember purging. I vaguely remember the sensation of wanting to purge, but I just couldn't purge. It was really hard for me to purge. So I sat there, and apparently what I did was I just threw up everywhere. I completely missed the bucket. I threw up all over myself. Not the best, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was literally not in control of my body at all. Couldn't think my thoughts, I couldn't move my arms, I couldn't do anything. It was my worst nightmare. I was so scared when this stuff was happening. I just wanted to get out. I wanted to, but I couldn't get out of it. So bearing in mind, they said before, please be quiet, please respect everyone, please don't shout. I'm there shouting, saying, there's 5, so that one's 5, that one's 7, and then that's 2, so who's that, oh, I don't know, who am I, and I just couldn't think straight. My mind was all over the place. I was going crazy, I was literally going crazy. And then I kept saying something about 52, I don't know what that means, but from my opinion, the numbers that I was saying under 9 is to do with Enneagrams. That's my opinion now, but back then I couldn't work it out, could not work it out at all. So the staff kept coming over to me, and I vaguely remember being pulled about. I don't know whether this was the ayahuasca or it was the staff as well. I feel like it was both, because it took 4 people that had to pick me up, and they had to take me to the medical centre and lay me in a room because I was distracting everyone. So my friend Gabriel, he said when I was distracting him, he could just feel this energy in his hands. He said he was going like this, going like that, and then he was pushing this energy towards me. And he said, because I was annoying him, and I said, completely understandable, I was probably being really annoying. But he said when he put the energy to me, they picked me up and took me out, and then he felt really bad, he felt really guilty, and he just apologised the next day. But I said, don't worry about it, I was probably being very annoying. So if you were having a good time, fair enough, but I was having the worst time ever. So next thing I know, I woke up in the medical centre. Like I said, I don't really remember much from the trip. It was just a scary experience. Like everything was just on top of me. And like I say, my worst fear is to not be in control, not have any strength, not be able to think. I felt hopeless. I just felt useless, hopeless. I couldn't do anything. So I woke up in the medical centre, and again, the staff there are amazing. They're coming over to me, they're checking my blood pressure, checking if I'm right, making me drink some electrolyte water, some actual water. And they just looked at me and they just went, you alright? And I was like, no. I was like, that was disgusting. I can't believe that just happened. I was just so shocked that all of that stuff just happened, because I was expecting a spiritual experience. I was expecting to see something really nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did expect to see some bad things, but I thought maybe after my purge I'd see some nice things, but it really took a turn for the worse. And if I would have eaten something, I literally would have pooed myself. It doesn't sound very nice, I know, but I had no control. I could have done absolutely anything, to be honest with you. It took me a good couple of minutes to actually regain strength and use of my body. So they asked me to sit up and have some water, and I really couldn't lift my arms, I couldn't lift my legs. I just couldn't do anything. I was really struggling to do absolutely anything. But what I got out of that ceremony was, I am so grateful just to be in control of my body. Like being in control of my mind, my thoughts, my body, and everything. It made me so grateful to be able to, if I wanted to lift my arm, I could lift my arm. If I wanted to think about something, I could think about something. I wasn't feeling deluded anymore. So after this, I was, to say the least, very nervous to go into the second ceremony. It was quite nerve-wracking, just because I really did not want to go back to that place. That place was horrible. I was so scared of it. And yeah, I couldn't face going back to that. It was really quite traumatizing for me, to be honest with you. So then we went the next day, we woke up. So bearing in mind, they took me back to my room and then went to sleep. Well, tried to go to sleep, couldn't sleep. Maybe got 2 hours sleep, if that. Because as soon as it gets dark, so we finished ceremonies about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and then try to sleep, can't sleep at all. I'm in the room talking and I'm just like, I can't believe what happened, and listening to the other guys' stories of what happened to them. Then yeah, the next day after about 2 hours sleep, we had to go to this, it was like a mental health place, so it was children and even adults that have mental health problems, and we just had to go and volunteer and just help them out. So like when we put them in the vans, we had to pick, we didn't do much volunteering because they had like a religious ceremony thing. So we basically just helped them back into the van, picked the wheelchairs up and just volunteered and just helped the kids out. I mean, it was quite a nice thing to do. The poor people, bless them, I mean, they really can't do anything, and that's what I took away. I was like, I understood how they felt, because they just don't have any, like some of them just don't have any control. They are just, they have to have everything done for them, and that was like I was the night before, so I did understand on their level kind of what it was like. So the second ceremony, now this one was not traumatizing. I just didn't see anything, you know. I was really disappointed at the time. I'll explain it. So I was going, like I said, I was going in very apprehensive, very scared, very nervous. So I wrote my intention down, wrote some affirmations. This is what Gabriel did the night before, and his trip sounded amazing. So I thought, right, I can do exactly what he does. The next day I wore a white shirt, I tried to make it more, before I went black, so I thought maybe that is to do with bad spirits, I don't know. So I wore a white t-shirt, I even wore my pink pineapple shirt underneath it to just wear more colours. I wanted to connect on a nicer level, so I thought maybe colours, I don't know, it didn't seem to work though. I was focusing on my ayahuasca, I took a little bit less than the night before, because I thought the night before I was so out of control that maybe if I took a little tiny bit less, I might be able to cope a little bit better. So I took a little bit less, took my ayahuasca, and read my intentions, put my intentions to the side, and then sat and meditated. The shaman was singing his Icaros, and I'm just concentrating. I started to lay back, and then as I was laying down, I could, out of the corner of my eye, I could, what seemed to be like a hospital, but I couldn't get anything. I would lay down, I would see it, and then it would go. I'd lay down the other side, I'd see it out of the corner of my eye, and it would go. So I didn't really understand it, so I sat back up, and then I heard people purging. People were really purging, like, the sound is disgusting. It's really horrible. It's a really horrible sound. And yeah, I couldn't feel anything. So they gave me a mapacho, which is basically like it's tobacco, cigarette, no filter. It's all pure. Well, I don't smoke, but it makes your trip go further, quicker apparently. So I took one of them, smoking it, nothing happened. Everyone else, I could see a lot of people were starting to trip out and starting to do things, and I couldn't feel anything. So I thought, let's put my hand up and ask for another cup of ayahuasca. So I thought, well, surely this has got to work. I hadn't purged by then at all. So the second cup, I took that. Again, couldn't feel anything. Told them about 20 minutes later, I still couldn't feel anything. I was just sitting up, just waiting and waiting and waiting. Starting to get into my head a little bit, and maybe that was one of the reasons. I was just too far in my head, too deep in my head. Then I had about 3 more mapachos, and again, nothing. I still couldn't feel anything. I still hadn't purged. So I was just confused. I was so confused. So again, I was just really disappointed that nothing happened. And then Jan, a guy next to me, he looked over at me and he just said, have you felt anything? I said no, and nor had he, and he took a big cup. So he said, can we talk outside? So I went outside with him, and like he said, and I do quite agree with it, he said maybe you already have the answers that you need to know. You don't need to know anything else. Maybe you're living your life purpose and all of this. And I was like, you know what, that could be true. I was happy and content before I got here. And it was just I was a bit disappointed that I didn't see anything. So I mean, my expectations were not to change my life completely, but I expected to see some things that would maybe change my perspective, maybe help me grow in some sort of way. So I was quite disappointed, to say the least. I walked back inside, went back down to my little bed, the little space where I was sitting, and just lost all my strength again. I just had no strength at all. Then the people coming up to me, and I just couldn't do anything. I was really weak again. I was really hopeless. And people coming over to me, and they said, have you seen anything? And I was, no, still nothing. And again, I was quite disappointed, but then the shaman came over to me, and it was a weird sensation. It was like this water stuff in his hands, and then put his hands over my head, and then was like he was like sort of slurping it, like doing something like that, and it's meant to be some sort of healing. I didn't really, it felt weird. I was sort of sitting there like, oh my God, I could feel something. I don't know what it was, but I could feel something. And then he asked me to lay down. He wanted to do this healing thing on my stomach, but by this point I was, like I said, I was quite gutted. I was sort of disappointed, so I didn't really want, at this point exactly, I was just like, I don't believe in it now. I really don't believe in it, and I did lose a lot of hope in what I believed in before, about the universe, not the universe, more like ayahuasca. I didn't believe in ayahuasca, and I was just gutted, and I just wanted to go to bed. So then it took 3 people to pick me up and try and get me up, because I didn't want this stuff to be done to me. So I just thought, oh, I'll get up and I'll go back to my room. I tried to get up, I couldn't stand up, so it took 3 people to pick me up. They sort of had my arms around them, and they were carrying me out. And bearing in mind it was a minute walk to my room, I collapsed 4 times on the way. I lost all strength. I just went like that, and then I'd wake up a couple seconds later and I'd be like, oh my God. And then they walked me to my room. Yeah, so they walked me to my room, and then I laid in bed and I just could not sleep. I was still tripping out. I wasn't seeing anything, but I just had all the ayahuasca still in my body. I didn't purge, I didn't go to the toilet. So it was a weird experience. And then yeah, I'm in my bed and I'm just sort of like, everything's tripping. And the next day at like 6, 7 o'clock, obviously the light came in, so I woke up and I'm looking at my hands, and my hands are all over the place. I'm still tripping, and it was just horrible. It was a weird experience. So I tried going to the toilet, I tried throwing up, I still couldn't. Now I managed to go to the toilet, I had a shower, I just needed to just drink water, and then we had some food in the morning, so I had a bit of food, and that started to fill me up a little bit, so I was quite pleased with that, because I obviously hadn't eaten. I lost so much weight around my arms, around my chest, around my body. I was just so thin, because I barely ate. We had a little bit of food in the mornings, and then just water throughout the rest of the day. So the next day, Hemma, one of the girls, actually said to me, she said, I saw your future last night, Max. And I was like, oh really? It's quite interesting, so tell me all about it. And she was saying how, bearing in mind I hadn't told her too much about myself, but she said she saw me 5 to 7 years as a very successful personal development teacher on stage helping many people, and I was like, okay. So she's telling me all of this, and I was quite happy with that, and I felt like it was just a healing experience. That's all I needed, maybe. I didn't need to see anything else. I don't need to know anymore. I'm learning, I'm growing every day, I'm happy where I am. So for me, happiness is so important. That's the only thing I care about, really, is I've stopped chasing the money. The money will come when I provide enough value. I'm providing value, so I'm not worried about any of that. Provide the value and you'll get what you need to get. So my thing, I'm just going to continuously grow, continuously focus on my happiness, continuously meditate. I do believe in ayahuasca, so don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't go and do it. Do your research, because it's a very weird and scary experience, it can be. So you will most likely face your deepest, darkest fears on your first couple of ones, because two of the other people who hadn't done it before, they faced some dark fears, and they were like, after the first night, like me, they were a bit like apprehensive going into the second one. So if you do want to do ayahuasca, do your research. Find out, I mean, I've put before all of this, all the benefits, everything to do with ayahuasca. Do more research. You have to have a call into it. Don't just think it's going to change your life, because it might not. It might make you see something that's crazy and you really change your mind. One of the guys, Simon, he went from never doing it, and his second experience sounded amazing. He was flicking through realms, and it really sounded amazing to him, and he was so pleased. And he said, after tonight, I don't even need to do another one. I'm so happy with where I am now. And he said he released all the bad stuff from his body. But yeah, my one was just a healing experience. I needed to face my fears. I needed to heal. I don't know what from. Apparently over the next week, things might come up in my dreams when I'm meditating that I start to recall things again. So that's my ayahuasca experience, and I hope you like the rest of this documentary. Could get anything in this market. Literally magic mushrooms. I'm pretty sure I do ayahuasca, San Pedro, the lot.
The first session was pretty mild for me. I didn't get too much visuals. It was more like just some patterns. Basically showed me that ayahuasca is here. I felt kind of a connection to, I don't know, I would call it entity, but it was somehow somewhere nearby, and I just felt it. And yes, it was pretty much the first session. Second session was way more intense. I felt like this entity, this spirit or whatever it was, it became part of me, and it made me, it just showed me the power that's within me. It somehow transformed me. I felt like I got wrapped into some kind of cocoon, and then I felt strength and just energy flowing through my veins. And as soon as I broke out of this cocoon, I felt like a dragon. I had so much energy. I could feel it everywhere, in every part of my body. I could transform it to my hands. Just play with it. It felt incredible. Yeah, I felt like a dragon. And then, yeah, kind of made me think after that. I did some meditation on both the first and the second session, and kind of got to me that this entity I thought was somewhere around was kind of my soul, my pure soul, and I refused with it. I found my soul purpose again, and it felt like it is somehow my job to protect this planet. Yeah. Well, that was the second session for me. It was pretty personal. And then the third session was more like about others. How I didn't feel too much. I had these visuals again, these patterns and some ayahuasca stuff. Basically, just it showed me that it's here again. And yeah, I got kind of maybe a little bit frustrated because I thought there is something I missed, or there should be something like a feeling or emotion, but it wasn't. Then it got me thinking, and maybe I thought to myself, maybe I already know everything there is to know. Maybe I got every information, every piece out of ayahuasca that I need to know. And as soon as I realized that, it all came to me. It popped up like ideas, like thoughts. I just felt like I had access to some kind of database, like a collective database of every being on Earth, especially human beings, because we are human, that's what we are, at least in this dimension. So I felt like I had access to this huge database with a lot of, I'd call it packages, or I don't know, of every single human being. I mean, I didn't have any access to it, but I knew it was there. Then I tried to scroll through it, and then some image appeared, and I felt like I've seen the Big Bang, like it's all saved, like it's stored somewhere. Not a single memory is lost. Everything we witness is stored in a kind of cloud, and we are part of it, and we get access to things when we need to. Not when we want to, but when we need to. And there is some kind of code to all of it, and this code is love. It's just love. And yeah, it's basically the message, I think. Do things with love, and life gives you what you need, what you deserve. Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
¿Cómo que le no me raspa el pelo?
Que parecía por esta línea, se estaba raja el pelo. Pero ya está para verlo. Linda es esta, ¿no?
Me encanta.
No quiere.
Vamos a sacar foto. ¿Sí? ¿Voy a sacar foto?
My name's Simon, I'm from New Zealand, and I'm ceremony here in Peru, Cusco, with some absolutely awesome people that I've met over here to do the experience of ayahuasca. So I've had 3 ceremonies, bit of a story with them. Basically, I'm going to read it because I've written most things down, so please be with me. Because if I don't write it all down and read it out to you, I will miss things because there's a lot. So, okay, my first ceremony. Basically, well, it was intense. It was like an intense trip. It was really intense, similar to a mushroom trip I'd actually had many years ago at home. So it was actually that intense that I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't nice at all. It goes on for ages. And I certainly was asking it to show me what I wanted to see, what I wanted to feel, because I had you know, ambitions. You know, I wanted to see where I was heading in the future. I wanted to find a little bit of happiness, etc., in my life, which I already have, but something's just been missing. And so that's why I'm here. So yeah, in this first ceremony, it just really wasn't sort of for me. Asking it to show me who I was. Unblock all my blockages that I have with all the questions. Also, thank you Mother Earth, Lord and the universe. I keep saying this constantly over and over and over again. And I never really saw anything. I didn't actually hallucinate, see any pictures or anything. It was just an intense trip. My stomach was sore, I was obviously purging, throwing up, came to the toilet. I actually ended up having a cigarette as well, which actually I sort of brought it on quite strongly as well, which was nice to have the cigarette. I used to be a very heavy smoker, not now. And so, yeah, basically it was not very nice. I didn't enjoy it, wanted it over, completely wanted it over. I was actually remember saying to myself while I was going through it, can this end now? I'm ready to go home to Renee, my wife. I'm done, I'm over it. And so that was really it for my first sort of experience. And the next morning talking with the other people that were with me, Max, he had quite an intense experience himself, but you know, he was focused on giving it another go. And so I did as well. I thought, oh, well, you know, that's good that he can actually do that. So I was pretty impressed with him doing that. So that gave me the strength, etc., to do that. So, so yeah, that was my first experience. So my second one, this is a bit of a story. I'm literally going to have to just read this out because it's a long story. So going in to my second ceremony, we did everything as per normal. I wrote some intentions down on a piece of paper and had that with me as well, which was awesome. I think that helped a lot. Here we go. Second ceremony. Holy fuck. That's basically the first thing I wrote because of what I'm about to tell you. So much to say. First thing was, it came on fast. Suddenly felt like I was falling, and then it was into a different dimension, full of squares and lines and moving around deep and low, which wasn't a really nice feeling. It was like I was quite dizzy. So, but then I looked at it and I thought, okay, let's do this, I'll go for this ride. And as soon as I did that, things changed. I just felt different. And so, staring at me and all over behind me were a few of these dark creatures crouching down on their hands and their feet. No face, maybe a mouth with some teeth. They were freaky looking, but I decided not to be scared and pushed myself towards them. To that point, I think I said, cute little fellas, just like Renee, my wife, would say. They sort of hung around for a while, which was nice in some way. I felt like saying Paradon? I felt like saying it, I don't know why, that's just what came to my head. So then in this dimension, it was full of these tiny squares and different shapes which were moving around. Matrix maybe, that sort of comes to my head. So then I wanted to touch them, so I did, to see what would actually happen. And they just moved like out of the way, so I'd like touch them and they would just move and dissolve and sort of disappear, and then they'd come back, and all of a sudden, and yeah, so it was quite an amazing feeling that. And then all of a sudden a black panther appeared, a big black panther, the face, huge black panther face. So, you know, it was an amazing looking yet dark entity about it. Now my face was moving around. It didn't feel like it was moving like the panther. It did feel like it was moving like the panther or cat, for example. A cat's forehead, you know, when a cat sort of sneezes or gets angry, closes in and frowns, like wow, sort of, I just felt that my face and my head was actually doing that. So yeah, I was doing this as the panther. I was the panther basically. I started to feel sick, so I grabbed the bucket, got into the correct position and started purging, hard out, really hard out. So, you know, throwing up, so much in fact that the panther's face, its bottom jaw, when I opened my mouth, snapped down and became huge and came around and back up. So basically purging, jaw drops down, comes right down like a big drops down here, comes right back up. And yeah, so that was quite intense, very intense. But some vomit came out and I can actually feel the deepest, darkest blockages or just darkness, disease, whatever it might be, coming out of the vomit that was actually pouring out of my mouth. You know, it was crazy. And as I was doing it, it felt like I was roaring like the panther, but with a deep, dark, human sort of voice with that as well. I can't do it for you right now because I just can't. But yeah, so that was quite full on and intense as well. So it was a roar like the panther. Sort of sounded like the devil, I suppose, if you know what a devil sounds like. I know 100% without doubt it was all my badness that I had that had built up all over the years in my life, and also all my past lives. That's what it felt like. There was just so much darkness there, and I could literally feel all that pouring out as I was purging. Because of that, I sort of enjoyed it. Like there was a sort of cleansingness of it, I suppose. I felt clean and my heart felt open as I was doing that because it was just cleaning my system out. And I felt warmness and love after that. So I lied back down and I was so happy and grateful for having released all that bad shit. Surprised how much I actually had. Scary how much I actually had. Then thinking of everyone, Renee, the love I feel for her, Mother Ayahuasca, show me that love. Tears rolling down my eyes at that point. Kane, my son, you know, my love for him is just as powerful as with Renee and everyone. I'm back into what I was calling before the matrix. I was suddenly back there. All these shapes and lines and tiny squares and circles, it's really hard to explain. So I decided to look closer, and then I reached out to touch them, and they all just move away as my hand goes through them. So I just touch all these squares and they just move away like bubbles, I suppose, maybe is a way to explain it. Meanwhile, Master Shaman came over, and is singing in his ancient high voice. You must hear that, that is an amazing sound. Such an amazing sound that I hear the dogs barking, and my ears went to a completely different vibration sound. One dog that was barking, I saw the dog barking, and as it would bark I could see the vibrations coming out, and for a second I felt like I could communicate slightly with that dog and that sound. Don't know what it was saying or anything like that, but I felt like my ears could match the pitch and understand these barking sound from a dog. That went, and I thought of my puppy, Storm. I have a dog called Storm, as how I want to be able to talk to her so much and tell her that I can talk to her and explain and find, then she can tell me what pain she's going through, because she's going through a lot of pain at the moment. And then because of that, I saw Storm. And I know the pain she's going through. She's got some bad elbows, she had operations that are still not right. So I basically put my hands onto Storm's elbow, the worst one, and just closed my eyes and just focused on grabbing that pain out of her and taking that pain away. Don't know what that meant, I just felt like I wanted to do that at that particular point in time. Yeah, so this made me think, how can I actually do this? Like, how can I actually see my dog, touch her, and then try and take her pain away? I mean, yeah. Oops, time for the purge again. As soon as I was in the position for purging, I was the panther again. This time, no vomit. No vomit whatsoever, just intense reaching, like from so far down in my stomach. Even though nothing was coming out, no vomit-wise, I literally could feel and see a blackness going into the bucket. Out of my mouth into the bucket, of darkness literally going in there. And once again, the panther jaw, wide open, more open than the panther can actually do. Face crunching up again. Then all of a sudden I felt drops of maybe water or, well, liquid anyway, and it was another master shaman. He knew what was happening with me. Then he was tapping my spine in different spots. Tap, 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 tap. And that's after he was literally throwing water onto me. Then he was slapping me with some flowers, and that was such an amazing feeling of release. All of a sudden made me aware of the dimensions, the matrix again. So here I am back into that matrix area and these dimensions. It was all these small lines and squares, etc. So I moved my hands around going through them because I felt so more clean and powerful. I decided to hit my hand, and that did the same thing as the shapes and squares and everything. Wow, that was out of it. That I kept doing it. I hit my hand and it would just dissolve, literally dissolve, disappear, and then come back, and then just go. It was just like that. That was wow. That was just amazing. You know, I kept doing it, and then I thought, where would this actually stop on my whole body? So why not try? So I hit myself all over, and then just shook my body. So you can imagine, I did my hand, and then I was like, the rest of my body, and then I just shook, and it literally dissolved, literally disappeared. All my body into all these squares and shapes just went, disappeared. So then, yeah, so I shook my body and it disappeared. The only thing I felt was a big bright ball of light. And I am that light, and I am that energy. So body disappeared, and there was just this big bright light. And I can literally see that big bright light now. And imagining that was just amazing. And then I actually looked around at everyone else, because there's a whole lot of people around me, and they were the same. Their bodies just disappeared, and they were just all lights of energy. And that came to me, and so it was telling me that Mother Ayahuasca was telling me that we are light. We're all just full of a ball of light and energy. It's what we really are deep down, and that was just amazing. Absolutely amazing to see. Next thing, I changed into the vision of the Silver Surfer. Yes. So once I'd done that and I was a ball of light, I turned into the Silver Surfer. I don't know if you know the Silver Surfer, but he is a beautiful specimen, beautiful toned body, just full of light and that sort of thing. So it's beautifully toned and bright, and I flew up a bit, and now I'm in a different dimension, and I look up and notice even more dimensions, all completely different in their own way. So I look down and I see our dimension as we know it, you know, and it was actually the lowest of all and the weakest of all. So as we know it, life now, this world we're living in, this time, blah blah blah, that's what I mean by it. So I moved up to a different dimension, and looking around to this dimension and thinking, wow, that's crazy, looking up all these different dimensions, which is even worse. So I've moved up to one dimension and look up to notice that there was a whole lot of more dimensions, and look down and notice in our world, our time, that dimension, that's the lowest of all dimensions, the weakest, the lowest, and this is what we live in now. So definitely saw that, definitely noticed that. And then what happened is I decided to fly up as the Silver Surfer to the top of the dimensions. So I did that. I flew up, top of the dimensions, and I was sitting there basically at my waist. So my waist was above the top dimensions, and I'm looking down at all the dimensions. And at this point, they're so different. At this point, I just decided to grab that dimension, throw that over there, grab this dimension, bring that one over here, and I just was sort of moving them around to suit. Obviously our one was still down the bottom because it's the weakest and it's not right. So, but I was just throwing them around, just like that. Basically, I was doing that and mixing them all up with my hands, and then I sort of thought to myself, how can I actually do this? As in Simon, basic old Simon, me. How can I actually do this? Yeah, so then I realised that Simon was only me in that bottom dimension, down there. That's that Simon, he can't do that, but I can do this up here, because I'm that light and that energy. So I rushed down through the dimensions thinking, oh my God, literally those words, oh my God, and that became so intense and strong, those words. Oh my God. My God. My as in my, me, my, God. And then I thought, does that mean that me is I God? And I was like, laughed, nah. And And then I just felt so much intensity on those words. I couldn't let it go. I just kept focusing on it, and I just kept looking at that. And then I sort of laughed, cracking up, like, you know. And then I saw Mother Ayahuasca laughing, because I was just like thinking this wasn't the case. You know, God, me, whatever, that's just stupid, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so then she told me to look deeper. She said, Simon, look deeper. So, okay. That was true. Maybe it was true. Yes. Yes, it was. Yes, I believe it's true. I actually do believe it is true. Holy fuck. This is exactly what I thought. Everything changed in that second. Everything. The power, the energy. I felt it just was nothing I had ever felt before. It was just crazy. I can't explain it. How powerful and amazing it was. No words will ever be able to explain it. Then I stayed there for a bit, like seriously, the feeling of that thought and you know, because I'd obviously thrown up before and got all that bad stuff out of me, and that had released this part of me that was able to be powerful and believe, and that was just, you can't explain the words of this feeling. It was just insane. Then I stayed there for a bit, building up power, building it up, thinking about, like, I'm actually God, holy shit, I'm actually God, I am that person, you know. Oh my God, and I just sat there and I just stayed in that dimension, the L dimension, and I just built this power up, and built it as strong as I could. Then I was the Silver Surfer again, and bang, I just went straight up, straight right through all these dimensions. But just before I got to the top dimension, I stopped. I saw Gabriel, a good friend of the person that we've met on this journey, and he's a very, very spiritual man. And I stopped. I put my hand on his back and I said, Gabe, mate, I love you, but I'm sorry, but I am God. As in, I'm the one who's God. And then I just went straight up, right through all the dimensions to the very top, to the very, very top. And if you can imagine the Silver Surfer flying, he flies up, spinning around even, and then just when he got right up to the top, his arms came out, and he just sort of brought his arms up like this, and then just dropped, went bang, straight down like that, and it just sent this huge energy right through all the dimensions, even ours, even the world just went, and I just went, whoa, and I could feel every part of those dimensions waking up, going, excellent, God has come to us again. God is back, He's alive, He's back, He's here, He's with us now. And I felt that was so true in all the dimensions bar ours. And this is why the feeling that I had in my stomach earlier, before I even arrived to this place, had been covered up from all that darkness, because our world, our time that we live in now, they're not ready for a God like that. They're not. They believe in all sorts of different gods, bits and pieces, which is cool, but this is the way I felt. I knew they weren't ready, and so I was never able to tell them that I was that person, or, you know, crazy. I know this sounds absolutely out of this world, bullshit even, whatever. This is what happened, this is how I felt, this is the experience that Mother Ayahuasca was showing me. Absolutely crazy. So now all I feel was absolute love. So this feeling is something I have never felt before. I feel love, and I've always been a loving person, no doubt about it. But this type of love is unconditional for anything. Humans, animals, insects, the earth, Mother Ayahuasca, buildings, ants, insects, every single trees, dirt, you name it, I loved it, I felt it. I felt like I just gave it all my inner love to everything. And you know, it was such an amazing, you know, tears are literally coming out of my eyes when I'm feeling this. It was, you can't explain it. No, I could never explain it really in words for anyone to really understand it. But you know, this is how I was feeling and what I was going through. So, you know, this is such an awesome feeling. You know, even all the bad people and bad stuff that's actually out there, I actually felt huge love for them. It didn't matter. It did not matter what they've done in their life. It did not matter if they were murderers or, yeah, and even time. Like, I remember thinking about time. You know, it doesn't even exist. There's no such real thing as time. And I remember thinking while I was up there as well about my actual life, like work and scenarios of happening of certain people that I was distressed about and bring that stress home and constantly think about. It meant absolutely nothing to me. Nothing. I just went, any badness in the world, whatever it was, brush it away. This is exactly, because I had the power of love and I was God in theory. So, that was just absolutely amazing. And then I decided to, obviously, I came back down, and so while I was back down, the shaman master decided to come over to me, and he held my foot. He held my right foot, breathed deeply on me, and started to singing ancient shaman, spiritual sonic singing that they do. You should check it out, it's pretty amazing when you're in a good buzz. And so when he was doing that, I could literally just feel the energy coming out of my, the darkness and bad stuff, sickness, whatever you might want to call it, literally coming out of my right foot. And I was literally, I could feel that. And he was taking it out into his hand and he was blowing it out. If you've seen the movie Green Mile, similar thing to that. But yeah, so, taking all that bad stuff out of me and my sickness and all that. So then I was quite relaxed and I was just sort of lying there and I sort of was just thinking about being God and how that sort of was, and I would just glow and feel like I was glowing and powerful and just with so much unconditional love, and that was just exceptional. I literally can't explain it. You won't know what that really feels like. Only I can really, ultimately enough. And so, and then it was starting to wear off a little bit from me. I thought, oh well, I might get up and I need to go to the toilet. So I go to the toilet because that's what happens when you do this. It comes out both ways, quite strongly, without much control. But hey, you leave your dignity outside before you arrive, so that's all good. Anyway, so I go to the toilet, and basically as soon as I get into the toilet, there's all these spiders running up around the walls, and how they have sort of thread that comes off your clothes, and there was so many of them just hanging off me, and they were like black little snakes and stuff like that, and I was like, whoa, full on tripping, hallucinating sort of thing. But then I remembered, that's right, I'm God, so who cares, God. So they sort of disappeared, and yeah, went to the toilet and went back inside, and not into the thing. I think I was done, so I went and had some soup. And I remember just sort of sitting there having some soup, just thinking about it. The old person would come in. I remember the nurse came in and gave me a big hug, and then she did my blood pressure, and she was just looking at me like, my God, look at you, like far out. And I remember seeing a couple of other people, and they said to me the next day that you were just like glowing, like I had this big light glowing off me. So that was real cool, real wicked experience. Woke up the next day, I can't explain much about it, guys. That's just amazing thing. So that was my second ceremony. So second ceremony was over. My third ceremony, I haven't written it down. I haven't got the strength to write it down yet. It's going to take me a while, a few weeks, if not longer, to find all those small details about it and actually write it down. I will one day. But I'll just quickly explain what happened. So it was me and Reena, whose rest of our group sort of had moved on, and so it was just me and Reena left, and 3 other new people came into the group. Didn't know them, so it was a different type of energy, I suppose. We hadn't got to know them yet. So that was a bit different. And on that day, there's a big protest and that happening outside, and we weren't allowed to go outside. So we were supposed to be leaving the next day. We weren't allowed to. So blocking off all the roads, etc. So they decided to have the final ceremony at 1 o'clock that afternoon, and we were going to sneak out about midnight, and they all go to sleep. So that was the plan. Didn't actually happen that way in the end. So yeah, basically I wrote some more intentions down, and I went into the room. We really wanted to sit next to Reena, but I didn't have that option, so she was away from me, which is weird because energy-wise, different people. She was over there, didn't feel right. But anyway, so yeah, did the normal thing. Not far after drinking it, a girl started throwing up pretty quickly. One of the guys did. And then she went outside, and I was not long after that I thought, oh no, she need to go to the toilet, so I went to the toilet. And I was sort of thinking to myself, oh, I'm pretty done, I think. I don't think this is going to do much for me. So, yeah, I could be done, actually. I might go to my room, and I thought, nah, shit, I better give it a go, because it was such an amazing experience last time. I just can't not do this again, like it was just working. So, yes, I thought, no, I'll go back in, and I went in, and I lied back down. So, from here on in, it's hard to explain what the feeling I was actually having, because I wasn't feeling too good, I was feeling a bit sick. I'd start purging, and I'd be in a position, and I'd just be throwing up. Now, I wasn't seeing anything, I was just throwing up. Nothing was coming out. I'm reaching, trying to drink water, and this went on for hours, like, not throwing up, and I lie back down, and I just felt ill. Just so ill and sick. sickness was just getting worse and worse, and I was getting to points that I could not move at all. I was frozen. The only thing that was moving was my eyes, sort of just moving around, and it just got, and went on for hours and hours, and it got so bad. It felt like, as I said, I can't explain the feeling. You know, you can't say it was a headache, you can't say your stomach was ill. I mean, your stomach was ill, because, you know, I'm wanting to crack and all that sort of stuff without even moving, but I just would not let that happen, because I just would not crack myself. I just found the strength not to do that, weirdly enough, but I needed to, but I just didn't, I could not move, so I couldn't go to the toilet. So I stuffed it, just, yeah. It got worse and worse and worse. Basically, it got so bad that inside myself and head, I was screaming. It was painful. I felt like my soul was getting twisted, and it was so sore and fucking scary. It actually got to a point that the doctor came over, because we got one shaman and we normally have two, which is weird. I don't know why this time we only had one, which I felt sorry for the shaman, because all these people, she's trying to control everything with all these people. There should be two of them in there. But anyway, I pulled the doctor over, and I basically said, I was in so much agony and so much pain, I couldn't do it anymore. This went on for hours. I had nothing left. I had nothing. And I begged him, please, can you kill me? Can you put me out of my misery? Kill me, please. I don't want to be alive. I can't do this. And, you know, and he just walked away. And I was like, you know, I couldn't move, it was just my eyes, and I was like, fuck. And I literally was in my head going, right, knife, I need a fucking knife, find me a knife. I need a knife. I would have slit my throat. I was in that much agony and pain and torment. So bad. I swear, I would never normally fucking kill myself, for fuck's sake. But if I had a knife, I would have slit my throat, 100%. So that was really hard. So hard, it was not funny. The doctor did come back to me and said, the shaman is going to come and see you. So that's what happened. I remember lying there and the shaman came over. I tried to lift my arm up and then just dropped down. And so that was happening a few times too. Down, out, gone. Completely, brain, body, gone. Come to a little bit, but still not being able to move, just eyes will start moving around. And so the shaman started singing her music that she does sing. Now, as I said, on my second ceremony, it is a beautiful sound. This was not a beautiful sound, it was torture. Absolute torture hearing. It was the same sound. So that was so painful. She just blew on me and then just sprayed water all over me, all the chemical that she uses, the products she uses. And she came and picked my head up and trying to suck all this badness out of my body and that sort of thing. It made me feel a little bit better, enough to actually be able to move over to my other side. And you know, and while I was doing that, like the other guy that was lying over there, I don't even know whether it was there before or anything, but he was staring at me. And I just did not like him looking at me. It was just a bit scary, I suppose, because I was fucked. And so, as well, I remember the doctor coming over to me a little bit after that saying, because this is after the shaman had gone, and she's still in the room singing and praying and doing whatever she needs to do. He came over and told me, it's quite hard to understand him, but he basically said that the master shaman has seen me die. So I had to think that and know that, well, this is the shaman. Shaman's seen me dead. I'm dead. That was an amazingly frightening, but I was in so much pain, I was like, okay, I'm ready. Okay, let's do it. I said to him, I'm ready to die now. I said it to the doctor, kill me, I am ready to die. And then he left, and I remember one of the coordinators, lady came in and sat with me, and you know, just sort of, you're right. Of course I'm not alright, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to die now. And then I said, but I can't leave my wife. I can't do it to her. The pain that would put her through. And everyone, my son, my family, my friends, and I just started seeing their pain of if I died, when I died, that I actually did die. I saw their pain. I saw what they go through. I literally saw my wife end it herself. Couldn't let that happen. Couldn't. And then all of a sudden, gone. Out again. Brain dead, heart dead, body dead, me dead. I came to again, and I saw my funeral. I saw the video of all my photos of me as a child and growing into a teenager, and the parties and all the people at my funeral just broken. I saw my son's mother trying to help him. He was fucked. And I just realised that the amount of people out there that love me hard out. And there's a lot of them, man. There's shitloads. So it's really cool. It wasn't just the people that I know, it was the people that I've just met. You know, the Max, the Gabriels, everyone, all of us that we just met. I just felt that they were outside. I felt my wife already knew. She was trying to get onto a plane and come over, and then the doctor was back, and I was like talking to the doctor, and I was like talking without actually talking. I was like, I need to talk to my wife. Get the fucking phone now. I need to say goodbye to her. And that was hard. It was amazingly hard. Really, really, really hard. And I basically said, I can't do this to everyone. I can't do it to Renee. I just said, okay, I won't. I'll come back. I'm coming home. Yeah, I'm coming home, baby. And I don't know. I think I passed out again, died, came back again, and just said, come on, Simon, you fucking got this. You can do this. Focus. And I just keep doing that. I just keep doing it. I'm coming, Bill. And this went on for, I don't know. Felt like days. Every now and again you hear the buzzer of the doorbell of the area where we were staying, someone trying to get in through the gates, just to come in, and I thought it was the Glen Reaper coming to get me, or funeral director coming to pick my body up, And so, eventually when the coordinator came, eventually after all heaps, this just went on of absolute agony and pain and death and sorrow and dying God knows how many times. The coordinator came over and was just talking. She spoke to me for about 10 minutes, I felt, and basically said that the shaman has told her that at the moment there's this big, huge, dark black cloud over the room that we're all in. The only person, I think Reena had gone, I think I might have been the only one left at this stage, but the big dark cloud was actually over and she couldn't do it. She couldn't get rid of it. She's been trying her ass off and she just doesn't have the power to. It's too dark, it's too big, too strong, too dark. I just want to jump back a bit. I remember saying to the doctor, am I going to die? I'm ready to die, but am I actually going to die? Am I dying? Am I going to die? And he looked at me and turned his head away and could not answer me. So I knew I was dead, dying, whatever you might want to call it. But anyway, so just back to the coordinator was talking to me. So black cloud, couldn't get rid of it. Can't do much about it, sorry, like rat shit. And she goes, look, maybe try and go outside, fresh air, clean, fresh air. It might just do you the world of good, sort of thing. And after the talking and my focusing and just, bawling my eyes out, that thought about leaving Renee. Love. I felt for her. Anyway, finally got me outside. So I thought, okay, I really needed to go to the toilet because I've been holding it in for so long. So I went to the toilet, and then I came out and sat outside and sat on the seat, and they put all blankets all over me, and I drank heaps of water and heaps of good stuff I'm supposed to be drinking to help it, and finished all that anyway. So yeah, and I was feeling alright, and then all of a sudden one of the dogs there, which I've been told is the boss of the dogs, he was quite far away, and I felt the whole time I was through that whole process, I felt I needed a hug, I needed to feel some love from someone, you know, and no one was giving me no love, no hugs or love or anything, and that was, I really struggled with that. And seeing that dog when I was sitting outside, quite far away, I couldn't speak. So I was just thinking to myself, come here, give me a hug, come on, hey boy, come on. And it looked at me, oh, this is the king of the dogs, you know. All the other dogs start barking and he starts barking, they all shut up and listen to him. He's the boss, no doubt about it. And he looked at me, and he's not allowed up where I was, and I knew that. But he looked at me and you know, he's like, I'm a loud man, you know, sort of thing. But he looked at me and I was just like, please come here, please, please, please. And God started walking over towards me. In some ways I felt like we communicated a little bit. He felt my energy, he felt that I wanted him there. So he walked over and then just sat proud and just made looked around and make sure, you know, no one's going to mess with me and sort of shit. It was pretty cool. Then gone. I fell again. I was out to it. I don't know if I died quite right then. I think I was about to again. But at that point, the doctor came over and just said, oh, you're all good, rah, rah, rah. And I said, I think I might need to eat something. And so then the coordinator came over, took me inside. I had some soup. By passing out every, you know, at that stage when I'm having the soup, the 3 new people for the thing were eating their food as well. So that was awkward because I actually didn't know what the go was. I thought everyone knew what was happening. I was dead and dying and everyone knew this, but no, they didn't know shit. So they would look at me like, oh, I could feel them looking at me like, you're passing out. I was like, yeah. And so I finished my soup, went to bed, pass out for a bit, and wake up and I'm like, right, I need to talk to my wife. I got my phone, luckily I had my phone in my room, got my phone and rang her. It's 2 o'clock in the morning for her, and she goes, so she just thought I'd just taken it like I'm tripping and talking to her, so it was hard for her to really understand. But when I looked at my phone, when I turned it on, there's no messages, nothing. So I'm like, no one rang my wife, and I was about to die, no one, you know, and I thought that was really, really weird. So they hadn't told no one actually knew what was actually going on for me. So I was talking to her, she was crying, I was crying, I was bawling my eyes out, and just sort of telling her what had happened, and she's like, oh my God, and rah rah rah, and then I got the phone, I rang her back, and I'm talking again, and she's like, you know, like, you sure this isn't just the hallucinative in your head? Just saying that this is all happening, and blah blah blah. And to be honest, I was like, nah man, nah. And I woke up in the morning, had a couple hours sleep, felt sick again. I felt like my soul's been tearing up again. I was feeling that feeling again, and I didn't like it because I was feeling a bit better before. And when I was talking to Reena, that is, and yeah, so, and I started having bad thoughts, like just naughty, bad, sort of dark thoughts. I'm like, fucking hell. And then I spoke to Reena again, and so she's like, no, so this I'm awake now, I'm sort of up-ish, lying in bed, and she's, you sure this, you know, this isn't just the trip, the hallucinative in your head, you know, that you were going through this? And I was like, I don't fucking know, but I need some answers, you know, I really, really, really need some answers, because I was dying, man, and they just let me go through it. Like, there was a doctor there. I would have thought I would have got taken out and, you know, blah, 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 sort of thing. But I now know, no disrespect to him, that the shaman is the boss. The shaman makes all the calls. The shaman's higher than them all. So, doctor's nothing compared to the shaman. So if the shaman said leave him, she saw me die. So I had to die. So, in the shaman's eyes, you know. Yeah, so basically, later on that morning, I got up and had some breakfast and with everyone. We were sitting there having some breakfast, and the guy that was lying me in the room said, and who was staring at me, he said he was freaked out because all he could see was a corpse, an actual dead body. And so I said, well, I was dead. And what? And then I told them. And so they knew nothing. None of them knew that I was actually going through this experience. I went through that experience. And I actually, you know, rah, rah, rah. So anyway, and then what usually happens after a ceremony in the morning is you sit down with the coordinator, the doctor, and the shaman, and tell them the experience, and then the shaman talks back to the coordinator and she explains back to you what's happened. So everyone went before me, then I went, and you know, I probably wasn't too nice about the situation, to be fair, but I needed answers. So I basically said to them that I need answers, you need to explain to me what the hell happened last night. I feel worse now than I did before I even got here, soul-wise. You know, I had no soul, even. So they explained it, which did help, to be honest. You know, the shaman basically explained, in my last ceremony, what was I? God. So, the most powerfulest, amazingest thing in the world, unconditional love of everything. So I had that. So I had to die and do that. So feeling I can't quite, I'm still trying to deal with the whole thing, to be honest with you. I feel special, I suppose, that I've actually gone through all that. No wish on any soul. Anyone should never go through that pain.
So the camera actually just cut out on Simon. He was just saying how no one should ever go through that pain. I wish it upon no one, he wishes it upon no one. I don't think anyone would wish that pain upon anyone. But I would just like to say, I wish love and light to everyone, every single one of you. If ayahuasca is for you, then do it. Takes a bit of preparation, takes a bit of finding out about what it's about and all this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, if you want to see light, you've got to see dark. You've got the yin and yang. It's all put together for one reason. We're here for a reason. We're here to make a change. So if you genuinely think that you can make a change, start something. Start your own movement. Start your own movement any way you can possibly. We will get there eventually. We're going through a big change right now. It won't be long until there's a lot of people doing the right thing. And when we're all doing the right thing, the world will come together and will change for the better. We can go deeper into our minds, into ourselves, into the past, into the future, and just find out what we can do together. Once we can do that, we can change the world. Let's do it. Also, I hope you guys have liked this documentary. Please follow me on Instagram at Maximilian, put it up here. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want any information about anything, happy to help. Just send me a message anytime. I'm here. Let's make the world a happier place regardless. Woo!